Hello, Farm of Life family.
Hello.
We have, she's awesome.
She's
Ladies and
amazing.
gentlemen, she really is amazing. She's helped us out. She's done so many things, and we're going to touch upon her life now. Jen Brandt.
Jen
Ladies and gentlemen.
from Minnesota.
From Minnesota.
Minnesota. Yep.
So everyone has a story of how they get into these, alternative lifestyles and what we do out here. So we'd love to hear your story. Please go for
it. Long story short, almost 13 years ago, I was put in a situation where I realized that I hadn't been living my own life. And what I mean by that is I had allowed myself to be a victim for 32 years, a victim of my circumstances and the things that happened to me. And it wasn't until I was in a situation and someone really challenged those beliefs where I had a moment, a clarity of realization that life really is a choice. And we get to change our lives at any moment. And it really starts with mindset, our thoughts, and leaning into it. So it was almost 13 years ago.
Nice. Where
it was challenged by someone not unlike you. I think you do that for a lot of the people here.
Enough of the story.
Yeah.
You got to change the story.
Yeah. Yeah. So I realized that, and for the last almost 13 years have been on the journey of changing that and what that looks like. And,
beautiful.
And progressing forward.
Nice. And and you've come a long way, obviously. A lot of your healing was already pretty much done here. And when you came here, it was just wonderful service, and your experience here, you deepened that story of presence. And you tell us a little bit about some of the things that you did while you were here, that sort of continued the closure, right?
Yeah. So I intentionally chose this place knowing that it aligned with a lot of my values of holistic living and knowing the mindset work that you work on with people, and that there's that connection to Mother Earth and the recognition that everything is all connected. So I chose the place on purpose. The seclusion included, being away from everything, knowing I was coming for a deeper healing, not only physically, but through the last, number of months and years. And we all have things we go through. And for me, part of that journey is physical healing, but also healing through relationships and losing my mom and a couple other things.
Exactly.
And I even brought,
This is Judy, Farm of Life family.
This is Judy.
So you had a lot of your...
What's left?
Yeah. So here, wait a minute. Let's see. Here, Farm of Life family. Here's Judy.
Well, a lot of that's already been distributed around.
Yeah. Do you know what interesting enough, though, and then we'll get back.
That's fine.
You'll hear the old Kansas song, Dust in the Wind.
All we are is dust in the wind.
So all your life, all your stories, all your shame and guilt and fear and anger, we talked about carrying the story, right?
Yep.
And then finally forgiving it and letting go. Well, guess what happens? When you pass away, this is what you are. Just this little pound or two of dust in the wind, right? So when you see something like this, it sort of symbolizes letting go, right? Mm-hmm. So why harbor this if this is all you're going to be after you die? We need to forgive. We need to let go. We need to create some space. So Judy has come around with us on this journey.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So I spent the last 2 weeks with my mom before she passed. And she loved to travel, and our story is long and varied, and we don't have time for all of this story. But
sure.
Mom and I have been through a lot. And like you said, I'd done a lot of the forgiveness work prior to being here. And during those final 2 weeks with her when she passed, one of the things she asked me to promise, 2 things she asked me to promise. One was, will you take me with you on your travels? Because she knew that she held a lot of that worry and guilt, and knows that she missed out a lot on life and didn't do a lot of the traveling because of that. So I promised, yes, I'll take you on my travels. Nice. So she comes with me everywhere.
Judy's coming with Jen.
Yep. And then the second piece that she promised, because she did not take care of herself, was that I would do everything I can to take care of myself.
Beautiful.
While also doing what I can to care for others. And so that is really important to me, and that's, again, one of the reasons why I picked Farm of Life, because
that's beautiful.
How your values here and what you stand for really align with mine. So I knew that I could show up fully, I knew I could show up vulnerably. I knew
Sure.
I knew coming into it would be a place for me to do further healing and further work with her.
Yeah.
What I didn't realize is how profound that work would be, or how much release I'd be able to do through the time together.
Yeah, it was deep, right? Some
was big.
cacao ceremonies. And
Yeah.
talk about some specific circumstances
Yeah,
where
it
there
was
was a
big.
few more release.
So one of the waterfalls that we went to, you and I went there with a couple other guests the other day.
Peace Falls.
Peace Falls, yeah.
Love it.
Beautiful. And I brought her with, I wasn't even going to go that morning. And a few minutes before, I was like, I'm going. I'm going to go, and I'm going to bring Mom. Mm-hmm. And when we walked in, there was one spot that I knew I was going to leave some of her. But then the second spot, I wasn't sure if I was going to leave her by the water or not. I figured I would just let it, and we play and we do what we need to do in the water, and then I heard it. Like, I knew I was going to leave some there. And so I get in all up in my head, and I take her to this big, huge, gorgeous rock that's filled with sun.
Nice. I saw you there.
It was a
beautiful.
big one, yep. And I climb up there through the water, hard to get to.
Yep.
Holding my little jar. I get up there and I sit on the rock, and I'm, taking a breath. And I heard Mom's voice, and I smelled her. She was a smoker and a drinker, but I smelled her cigarette smoke during that moment. And I heard her voice tell me that she wanted the blue pearl. What are you talking about? What blue pearl? So I get off the rock and I start looking around, and sure enough, of course, there's a small gray stone that looked like it had a light blue pearl inlay.
Yeah. I know that stone. It's cool looking.
It's beautiful, and there were 2 blue dragonflies on it.
Nice.
So, and of course it's, whenever we have those, I mean, we can write it off as no big deal. It's just coincidence or just happenstance. But because I choose to believe that life is a choice, I choose to believe in connection and divine synchronicity, I firmly believe that is, those are messages, right?
Absolutely. No question in my mind.
So I left some of her on that rock and
nice. That's so
blessed
beautiful.
it, and it was wonderful. And it feels really, really good to me because the memories come forward, and the messages and the closure that we had, and the beautiful stories. I mean, all of that outweighs any of the challenges.
Yeah. And
it just makes it that much stronger.
Such a healing experience, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing Mom with you.
Yeah.
Thanks that's what she wanted.
To her.
Oh yeah, she's Judy. What's up?
Yeah, she would have loved that you chatted with her.
She's awesome.
She loves that.
Yeah. So. Yeah, we love her. Now, in this 13 years that you've been healing, there's always someone, like for me it was sun gazing, like really helped me transform. For you it's Kundalini yoga. So talk a little bit about your experience with that.
So it's one of the things. There have been a lot of things. This, journeys are up and down and all around, and we move through various things. When I learned about Kundalini yoga, the thing that I love about it is that it really honors, we say an opening mantra, Om Namo Gurudev Namo, which essentially translates loosely to honoring the teachers that came before us, while also honoring the guru within
you.
So it's recognition that we are that divine truth. We are that divine love, and we all have that.
That's correct.
Not just some of us, not just those that have gone through a journey, but my mom had that.
That's right.
Even though she maybe never went through her own personal awakening.
But it was
like
always
I did,
there.
But it was always there.
Always. Yeah.
And it's up to us to lean into a practice, whatever that is. For me, it's Kundalini and meditation. For you, it's sun gazing, and for someone else, it's something else. But as long as we lean into that, I think we allow ourselves to open up to that. So that practice is very grounding and healing. And
nice. And I know you offered that to some of our guests. It's so beautiful. Thank you.
And I have fallen in love with your sun gazing. So
yes,
I plan
she's
to
out
continue that at home.
Good,
so,
good. Yeah. It's a great practice.
Yeah.
You've written a book.
I have.
Talk to us a little bit about that. This is an author, ladies and gentlemen.
And I have another one in the works, thanks to Pharma Life. So, my first book is called Dying to Be Good Enough, and it's a journey of acceptance and discovering ultimate love.
I love the name of that, Dying to Be Good Enough.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and it speaks to, people ask me, so did you have a near-death experience? Is that why it's called that? No, it was more like I always felt like I was never going to be good enough. I felt like I was invisible and, never wanted, and I thought I'd be alone and unloved for the rest of my life. And the victim story that I talked about.
Yeah, the story.
And the stories can either keep us stuck. I used to say that I had all of these stories and I stood in the middle of it, kind of like my pile of junk. And then once I started changing my life, I used those stories to up-level and lift me up. They're just part of the fabric of who I am.
Who you are.
So the book is stories and lessons about how I changed my life.
That can be so inspirational too.
Yeah, that's the hope, because I think the stories can keep us stuck if we stay in them, but they can also help someone pull themselves out.
Right, that's the choice, right?
Right.
You either stay stuck and suffer, or you can pull yourself out with doing things, the activities that we do here on the farm with your Kundalini, sun gazing, meditation, and then reading some of these amazing books.
Right.
And your book's going to be yet another.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I just add to that? There was one night at the dinner table where you shared a lot about your background, more than just 10-minute video. It's super inspiring, everybody. She's really come a long way. She's really forgiven, done some really tough work. So I highly recommend this book, which I haven't read yet, but I look forward to. Just hearing what she's gone through and this deep relationship she has with her mother now, considering where it started.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
It really is.
The book is dedicated to my mom. Wayne Dyer always talked about his dad being his greatest teacher because his dad abandoned him when he was a little boy.
Yeah.
And he talked about how that abandonment taught him how to become self-reliant.
Absolutely.
Which I loved that. And as I started changing my life almost 13 years ago, it didn't take me long to realize that challenging relationship with my mom, that my mom was my greatest teacher, because had she been a mom to me the way I expected her to, I wouldn't be here right now.
Exactly.
I wouldn't have written the book.
They are our greatest lessons.
For sure.
And we all have them. It's what we choose to do with them.
Right.
Right?
For sure. And
you got another book on the way?
I have a couple. I have another one published already.
Dang.
And it's a Minnesota joke. It's called Hot Dish for the Heart.
Mm-hmm.
On the inside, I write that it's casserole for the soul for our non-Minnesota friends, because we're all hot dish and everyone else is casserole.
Ah, I see.
So that one's just a little kitchen table type book. It's just filled with quotes. So it's fun. It's a quick hit of inspiration.
Nice. Where can our viewers find you to buy these books?
LoveJenGrant.com.
LoveJenGrant.com.
Yeah, you can find me there. Connect with me there.
And we love her.
Yeah, I do.
If you want author signed, I'm happy to do that.
Nice.
And then I know that the next one that's coming is the continuation, because the healing doesn't stop. Right?
Nope.
The journey doesn't stop.
Never.
We never arrive.
It's the infinite story.
Yeah.
Right?
And
it just keeps going on and on. What a beautiful ride, though.
Yeah. Pulling things out that we don't even know are in there. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah. Farm Life family, we love you very much. And I want a signed copy of your book.
Signed copy. I'll send you one.
Signed copy, Jen.
Will do.
Love you guys. Peace.
Bye-bye.
See you later.